What are you doing?
What's it look like I'm doing?
I have no idea. Wah! Bang! Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh overview. Today, let's take a look at the Medicom MAFEX Marvel Invincible Iron Man comic version. Coming in a bit late with this. I actually received it several weeks ago, but man, it seems like all these companies are suddenly catching up with all the pre-orders. Oh, did you make a pre-order a year ago? Here it is. Did you make a pre-order a month ago? Here it is. Bam, 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 bam. And I'm not just talking about Medicom, who has had 2 or 3, at least the ones I pre-ordered, 2 or 3, 4 releases in the past month or two, because I've also got Jean Grey in there. But I'm talking about other toy companies too. Suddenly... But I was excited about this because it's a classic rendition. And I'm always down to try to upgrade my favorite versions of characters because, don't get me wrong, we've got more than enough Iron Mans from more than enough companies. But that classic version just plucks at the old heartstrings. Looking at the package, it's your standard MAFEX fare. Big window, some graphics around it. Got a classic picture of Iron Man up here, like the corner of a comic book. Here's a pretty promotional shot. Logos. On the side, another promo pic, artwork. On the back, more promotional images showing what it can do, what it comes with. Scary bear! On the other side, another promotional shot. Logo on top, same thing, different order. On bottom, bunch of warnings. Cut the tape, pop the flap, slide the tray. You know it's good if it's got some instructions. I need instructions to open this package, apparently. Changing out the face covers, stands, and Proton cannon accessories. Continuing with the Proton cannon. More Proton cannon. Oh, look, more Proton cannon. Ooh, and look at this. Just right off the bat, it's not metallic. It's not chromy. You can't see your reflection in it, but it still comes off as metal. It's mostly just a super glossy sheen, and I know that's kind of stating the obvious, but just pointing it out, working it through in my brain. It's that comic book metal, you know what I mean? Now the yellow parts are just like we saw back in the day, where it was kind of a liquid metal that came over his body, just so it's just human musculature. But it's toned back because classic. It doesn't need all the striations and heavy, just yeah, he's strong. Blah. It's just nice, simple sculpt to the arms, to the legs. And then on the red, there's these lines, there's these bands. And again, very Iron Man-y, coming up to cuffs on the top of the boots, cuffs on the top of the gloves, but not super in your face. They just kick out to let you know that that's the top of the boot, that's the top of the glove. The iron nipples don't stand out as much as they usually do. There's no paint on the inside, but the restraining bolts are sculpted on there. And then for the arc reactor, or as we called it back in the day, the unibeam, it's like a clear piece of yellow plastic in the middle, so it gives it some depth, like you're looking down into the armor. I think these were battery packs, which back in the day powered the suit. And then there's the helmet. Got the earrings sculpted in, kind of a cheekbone thing happening. Just a slit for the mouth, slit for the eyes. But what I like about this, well, at least this option right out of the package, you can see Tony's eyes under there. Like an actual Knight of the Round Table or something. It humanizes it. It keeps you from thinking, oh, well, that's just a robot. It's just a great design. What can I say? Also out of the package, I didn't think there was that much paint. You know, you have your red plastic, you have your yellow plastic, you have the obvious washes in the bands of the trunks and the gloves and down here on the boots. And then, of course, the eye paint. But when you start looking closer, there is some shading in places. There's some slight shading to the muscles on the back, and it feels very natural because if I do this to try to get the glare off of it, it casts its own shadows in almost the same places. There you go. There's a good look at the shading on the back. And it's the same on the front, at least down on the abs. You get up at the pecs, and there doesn't seem to be as much, so it almost seems out of place. I wish it was a little heavier here and here. And it's hard to tell, but there's just a little on the yellow. They used a shade that was just slightly off the base color. It goes down right there, comes across right there. It's hard to see. Again, the natural shadows cast by the muscles just kind of blurred out a bit. As far as nitpicks go, I've only run across a couple. Right off the bat, there's some stuff going on around the waist. If you tilt it forward too much, you're looking right down into the trunks. What's going on down there, Tony? It's like that so you can get that much crunch out of it, which is amazing, but physics being what it is, you can't put two objects in the same place at the same time, especially when it comes to plastic action figures. The other thing that caught me off guard are the battery packs on the side are just on little hoops threaded through the trunks. This one has some tightness to it, so it kind of hinges up and down, gets out of the way of your leg movement. There can be some floppiness in some positions, so they look like they're just kind of hanging there, which essentially they are. It had to be done to get them out of the way. And then not really a nitpick, more of an engineering comment. They went old school Marvel Legends with the butterfly joint at the shoulder. You can see the hinge right there. It goes... There's kind of a dumbbell joint at the shoulder, so you can get some up, some down, some forward, and some back, but oh man, they were wanting to go full on repulsor blast with these. Yeah, it gives him a super wide look because, I mean, the shoulders are dislocating and coming off the body, but it's still fairly seamless if you, well, keep it under control. There you go. Tony is very disappointed in your grades. But while we're talking articulation, there is a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck with a kick in it, and then there's a ball joint at the bottom of the neck. But even with all that, because of the neck ring coming around and running into that, you can only look up about that far, and some... Oh, that's a spoiler. I am not a robot, do not look at me. Again, ring runs into the chin, looks down about that far. So much tilt though. Side to side. Like we talked about, big old butterfly joint. Dumbbell coming out to the shoulder, can go up, can go forward and back a little bit. Swings all the way around. Hinge at the shoulder, goes to there. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow, you gotta kind of work forward because of the glove cuff. Goes to about right there. Swivel hinge swivel at the wrist allows for this. But if you go here and turn it, you can go this, or this, or this. I just did the same thing 3 times, but you can go any direction you want. Dumbbell joint mid-torso with a ball at the bottom. Top kicks about that far, but then kicks way far down there. Arcs back. Tilt. Tilt. Oh, and you want to be careful kicking the mid-torso forward. Looks like it scrapes a little. There's a drop down at the hip, allows for this, some back, out, battery pack getting out of the way. Yeah, there's thigh rotation within that assembly. Double knee comes around to about right there. Again, you got your boot cuff running into the leg. Then at the ankle, you have the same as the wrist. There's a swivel hinge swivel, turn side to side, angle back this far, forward facing pin for rocker, and then a toe joint that does that. For accessories, gonna have quite a few hands. We got the 2 fists, and because it's Medicom, they pop right off. It's more of a friction hold. And then those alternate hands come on these sprues. That's to keep the hole where it needs to be, and it keeps the sets together. And if you've seen my MAFEX reviews, you know how much I love them. Got 2 closed grip hands, have 2 relaxed hands with repulsors sculpted in there, painted white. 2 tensed up kind of clawing hands. There's 2 flat salute flying type hands. 2 splayed out about to fire some blast hands. And then a pair of hands with that same sculpt except there's pegs in the palms. Self high five. The pegs are for these blast effects. Fairly simple. You have the bulb, but just fading from yellow to orange. Or I guess it would start here, so it'd be orange to yellow, huh? And those just plug right onto the pegs. And because of the articulation, not a problem to fire them any direction you want to go. But this flying pose means he needs some boot blasts. And these are neat because they have foot pegs, but they're sculpted to look like the whole boot is blasting. I forgot to point out there's a foot peg and then there's kind of a fake foot peg to make it look like there's a jet blaster thing down there, whatever. But anyway, that plugs right there. Then the other one just kind of pops into there to key it in so it doesn't rotate off the boot. Oh, and look at that. Again, there's a simplicity to it, but it just works. I guess you can go for a more modern flight thing if you want to use these as stabilizers or more propulsion or whatever you want to do. But while we're messing with the feet, like a lot of MAFEX, those also pop off. And there we're going to go super old school with a set of alternate feet with roller skates on bottom. Yes, this was a thing back in the day. It wasn't always flying and blasting. If Iron Man wanted to get somewhere quick or across the rink or something, he'd skate his way there. Not the easiest to get balanced in an action pose. You're still just using a little bit of foot. Next up, couple skate. Do you really wanna hurt me? But that's not all. Like I accidentally showed a minute ago, the faceplate does pop off, and you're left with this nightmare-inducing image. But there's also an alternate faceplate that you can pop on. Give it kind of a even older school look because it has a nose sculpted on it. When this is an option, I never use it. What's your safe word? There's also another option. This eyepiece in here, the first time you pull it out, it is tight as hell, but once you do, it's easy enough to just grab, take it out, and you can put this kind of pair of sunglasses underneath it, which comes off as just lenses in the helmet. And this is a good look too because it matches the mouth, and it also works with the other faceplate. But as you'll see here in a minute with the Marvel Legends figures, this is kind of unique with the actual eyes peering out. But if you don't want a helmet look at all, it's kind of tough because that head pops off like that, and then you have to remove the neck. I've been doing just by pulling on the dumbbell joint, which is super Come out of there. There you go. And there is an alternate neck and head for an unmasked Tony. Nice eye paint, nice sculpt. Nice blue to the hair, again, going back to that comic book look. But after years and years of the look we all know and love with the longer hair, the goatee and stuff, I don't know. This is a neat option, but it's gonna be helmet for me. Well, I gotta have a neck too. Then there is the Proton cannon, which I'm not sure is actually supposed to come with this version of Iron Man. I always think of modular Iron Man using this, but maybe I missed something. Nice techno sculpt with the tubes or the bulbs and the lines running through and the grooves. Got all the barrels on the end. I don't know what this does. This does some stuff. The exhaust. Oh, maybe it's firing so hard that it pushes back, and this is some kind of thruster to keep it in place, to keep it centered. Tony, you're a genius. And then there is a wash in places. Not a lot. Just enough to darken up the recesses, the crevices. Like I showed a minute ago, there is a closed grip hand. And at first, it's kind of, how do you grab that handle? But looking at the instructions, you have to remove this, then you have to remove this. You put the hand on the grip, which is tight as hell. Plug it back into the cannon, put this back in the cannon, and then plug the hand in. Seems really complicated, overly complicated. Son of a bitch, I put the hand in backwards. Okay, here we go. Put that in, then plug the hand in. And if this was hollower, had less weight to it, maybe he could hold it up, but there's no way in hell that arm is going to support the weight. Hence the stand, which comes with this plug on the back, and then this piece. There's a peg hole in the back to plug this in. This isn't the tightest connection right here. It doesn't want to stay on very well. Oh, and that doesn't plug in where the shit either. Then on the front, here, just sits like that. Beautiful, the hand rotated out of position too. How about we do it like this? Put that on, put that on, put that on, that on. Damn it. And there you go. He's holding the big ass cannon. Yay. That was totally worth all that bullshit. My opinion, this thing. Not worth the trouble. Height-wise, this Iron Man stands at about 6 7/16. Works great with other MAFEX Marvel figures like the, well, I just reviewed this last week, the symbiote or black costume Spider-Man and then Deadpool. But if you're a mixer and a matcher, this does come out slightly smaller than the Hasbro Marvel Legends variations on this costume. But that wouldn't stop me from displaying it with the Marvel Legends Thor and Captain America, at least until Medicom comes out with their own versions. And then for giggles, here's a Bandai SH Figuarts MCU Iron Man and the Mezco 1/12 Collective Iron Man. So at the end of the day, oh, I love this figure. It's exactly what I wanted, an upgrade to a classic feeling Iron Man. It does the posing, it's got the blasting, it's got the roller skates, which I absolutely love because don't get much more retro than that. The hands, the face plates, the eyes peering through, the alternate Tony head, just what I was wanting. But that Proton cannon, don't get me wrong, I probably shouldn't have got as frustrated as I did with it. But you know how it is. You're sitting here, you're messing with it, it's not doing what you want it to do. You get the figure posed around it, the pegs are too loose to stay in there. It's essentially just balanced there. And if you kind of try to adjust the stance or something, so I got frustrated. But it's not like I'm going to be, oh, no, it's perfectly fine and I like it. Thank you. I just don't like what you have to go through to try to get him posed with it. I'm sure there's a balance point to be found where you can get it without the stand and everything. Just kind of, that doesn't work. Just big, but I bet you got to go through some hoops for that too. But that's what I was after. That's what I got. That's what I'm happy with. But price-wise, this is up there compared to what you can get with Marvel Legends. These will do you just fine. But I like the sheen, the proportions, the articulation, those mega butterflies, the accessories. Not you. The options, especially the eyes peering out from behind the face mask. I think that's my favorite thing. Rest is just gravy. But if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel. Patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. Okay, maybe once I'm not in review mode and trying to get everything set up in front of the camera and working and trying to show this and that and doing this all for the first time, maybe I'll grow to kind of like this. Maybe. Yeah, maybe I'll mess with this some more.